Hello lovely people and welcome to Guitar Elevation. Today I want to teach you the intro section of Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Guns N' Roses. Of course, this is a cover of the original song Knockin' on Heaven's Door by Bob Dylan. Now this song has been probably covered 1,000 times and other YouTube channels have tried to teach it to their audience. But I'm pretty sure that the way I'm going to teach you that song today will make a difference and you will be able to at least grab the basics of it. I'm going to teach you exactly the same way we teach it to our students here at our local studio, and the same way we teach it to our student over guitarelevation.com. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. I'm not really following the song as is here because honestly live they do it differently, and then so all you have to do is just jam it out, just jam it out, just enjoy it, but also abide by the correct chord switches and the correct rhythm, of course. Now the first thing I want you to really focus on is to have the basic chords covered. Basically you need to be able to play at least the G, the D and the C chords in order to play this song and have at least a certain amount of control over your picking. Another thing I want to mention is that this intro consists of 2 cycles. They are extremely similar, the only difference is going to be at the end of it. We'll see it together. Like I said, first thing we want to do is to cover the basic chords. So basically, this is the first chord, this G. The way I'm doing it might not be the way you play it, but we will need it to do it this way for the song. So check the diagram on your screen right now, but if you need more help with it, what I'm doing is I'm putting the pinky on the high E string fret 3, then the ring finger on the B string fret 3, and the rest you already know it probably. Right? If you don't know the G chord, you should be learning this lesson anyway. All right, so that's the G chord, and then we have the D chord. This is just a simple D, the regular one, and then the C chord also, the regular C that the open position. Awesome. The strumming part goes like this. It's 1, 2, I change, 1, 2, I change, 1, 2, 3, 4. So basically we have the G and the D chord sharing one measure, and then the C one measure alone. Okay, so if we were to just strum the intro instead of doing the arpeggiation, which I will show you in a bit, you would do 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, as for the strumming pattern, it would be like down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up, down, 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 up. Okay, so that's the very basic stuff. Of course, we're not gonna stop here. So like I said, you need to have at least those chords down and at least be able to play on time, even if it's just with one strum. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You need to be able to switch on time and have this exact sense of rhythm. All right, let's move on. Now I'm going to show you how we're going to arpeggiate that intro. Here's another thing I forgot to mention. I will not be teaching you in a monkey see, monkey do fashion. I'm not going to be like, yeah, then you put your finger here on fret number 2 and then you put the first finger on fret. No, we're not going to be doing that song that way. I suppose you already know that stuff. I'm going to be teaching you how to practice that song so it works. Let's start with the arpeggiation. The first thing I want to do is a down strum on the G chord. All right, then we're going to start arpeggiating. So if you don't know what arpeggiation is, it's playing the chord but one string at a time. I'm not going to be strumming but separating the notes. So I'll do this. Easy stuff. What I'm doing is I'm playing E string, B string, G string, B string again. So up, 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 down. While keeping, of course, the G string in its place. So down strum, up, 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 down. Okay, we'll talk about the rhythm later on. I want you to focus on doing that. Okay, then we have the D chord. So on the D chord, what we're gonna do, we're gonna arpeggiate from the start. It's gonna be like, All right, so I take that D chord, I start arpeggiating from the D string. It's gonna be a down, 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 down. And here on the high E string, I'm gonna release my second finger, which is playing fret number 2. I'm gonna just release it like that, which in the sword it becomes a D suspended 2 chord. If you don't know it, don't worry. Okay, that's a D suspended 2. D sus 2. All right, so down, 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 and then I release and I play the string open. Then I go back to the B string, G string, and then B string again. Okay, so awesome. Now, the tricky part is the C chord, but don't worry, I'm gonna make it easy to understand for you. Instead of putting the C chord all together, we want to construct that chord. So if you look at the tabs, we have some similarities going on here. So the first thing we wanna do is play the D and the G string open, just open, and then hammer on my second finger on the second fret on the D string, as if I'm trying to build the C chord. Because as you know, if you look at the C chord, this is where your second finger is. So this is the first finger that I'm gonna be putting. Okay, so I played those 2 strings open, like I said, and then I hammer on. And then comes the bass, which is the 3rd finger on the 3rd fret on the A string. All right, so let's consider what I just did here as part A of that measure, part A, or whatever you want to call it. All right, now the part B, which is the second part, is this. Part 2 is playing the G string, the B string on fret number 1, and then the G string again. And that way I would have constructed my C chord. The last missing piece was the index finger here. All right, and it's done in part 2. So G string, B string, G string. So that's part 2. And then part 3 would be playing the D string, the high E string open, and then the D string again. So that's part 3. All right, again, part 1, part 2, part 3, part 2 again, part 1 again, and then an open G string. So that's the whole C chord we just did here. Let me repeat. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 2, part 1, and open G string, and then a G chord. So let's play the whole C chord again. One more time. All right, now let's play the whole thing from the top. This intro consists of 2 cycles. They start the same, but they end differently. So here we're gonna start the second cycle, and everything I said before for the G chord and for the D chord is gonna be exactly the same. The only difference is gonna be with the C chord. All right, so here for the C chord, the difference is I'm gonna arpeggiate up, and then I'm gonna arpeggiate down. So I'm gonna play all the strings starting from the A string, string number 5, all the way up to the B string and going down again to the 5th string, the A string. So like that. I played all of the strings. All right? And then what I'm gonna do is jump directly to the B string, then the D string, and then go up, and then play the open G. All right, let me repeat that again. Then B string, then D string, up, and then G string. And here I'm gonna strum the chord. before going to the power chord section. So let me play that C chord again, all of that section. And this is where we go to the power chords. I think I'm gonna cut this here and we'll do the power chord section in part number 2. Stay tuned. I'll see you in a few seconds. Click on part number 2.